It's like you mentioned, and like Moxie mentioned on the desk too, sometimes the team that you get, or sorry, the strategy against 100 Thieves is to ban out Delena's hero pool, right? And I'm sure VP have a very good read on it as we enter that ban phase right now, Shib, and that asymmetrical system. And a best out of 3. We start on Burn T'Challa on the very first map of the day.
Yeah, it looks like we escaped there. We finally see Burn T'Challa together early on here in this tournament as we start off with our bans. Mantis and Venom immediately ripped right off the start here.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that the Venom's been dominant throughout the tournament. I think Jeff as well is a prominent hero. VP banning out the Mantis, doesn't want them to play that because we've seen Delena make that switch, Phil over to that hero a lot of the times, banning out Venom of their own because with that Jeff team up, it can get so much healing down range on top of the fact that Venom is just still a dominant hero, one of the best already, and now is one of the strongest in the game regardless. The Cap Protect on the opposite side comes through for VP, and this is something that you were talking about, Shib, is that these dive sort of compositions, we even have a viewer in the crowd, I believe, with a bunch of what is a dive, what is a sort of big poke hero. We have a lot of cosplayers coming out here in the crowd already, and Captain America, one of those dive heroes that is well known in the scene.
Yeah, seen a lot in the EMEA region and just overseas in general compared to the Americas region. Still a ton of talent in terms of Cap over in that region as well. But yes, very divey, very scary. And that banning out that Bucky is a way to help just boost that dive potential. Bucky right now is in a very strong state and actually has been protected by both of these teams more than you would think. So, you know, definitely taking more of a front seat in this meta.
Absolutely. I think Bucky's just been constantly buffed over the course of the last few patches. 100 Thieves going for that Psylocke ban you mentioned.
There it is. Yeah.
I mean, everything's kind of playing out how we thought it was going to, and this is what a lot of coaches talk about in terms of teams like Chopper Mag, which was brought up at the desk as well. We go for that Adam Warlock Protect for 100 Thieves. We'll see what VP ban against it to keep Delena's hero pool available. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We've seen, you know, Brock and Raccoon be so strong in terms of that damage output that you can provide with it now alongside the overhealth. And it makes sense for 100 Thieves to keep that Adam Warlock, make sure Delena has a few heroes to play, and you don't want Sparker to play Psylocke in a dive comp.
Yeah, agreed. And we talked a bit about, you know, Delena's hero pool, but we got to shout out the fact that that Adam Warlock placement has been very strong. When a team is using that Karmic Revival, 100 Thieves do a good job of fully committing to that fight, so you get the maximum value out of those reses, because a lot of teams that are struggling in these early stages, they're trying to match that Warlock, but they just have a tough time committing and getting KO'd, so the res finds value. Instead, it's just a waste of an ultimate. But when you can turn that around and they commit a ton of ults to try to sweep your team, you come back with a Karmic Revival, all of that is for naught, and you're still holding on to the point, which means so much here as we start off in domination.
Starting off, Shib, this is going to be a heck of a match. First game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise because we're headed to Burn T'Challa, and it is the Marvel Rivals Ignite Grand Finals, and we're just getting started on this Friday and Halloween, like you mentioned, Shib. So happy Halloween to everybody in our audience, and this is going to be an incredible matchup between two awesome teams, so what a better way to start off the week with Virtus Pro versus the 100 Thieves.
Just setting the pace here now, and what a pace to be set with this matchup. I am very much looking forward to seeing who comes out on top in this first fight, as that will help set the tone. Folks, again, the idea is to get this point early and hold on for as long as possible. And we begin now. 100 Thieves walking forward, gonna have that Groot and Emma compared to Nevix over there on that Angela and Cap. So the Vanguard line looking a little bit different, and we will begin.
Yeah, very front-to-back style for 100 Thieves. You can see VP, you got to set up that dive from Nevix, trying to get onto somebody with that spear, try to connect with Finzi as well, going for that full surround. Saife is going to be a target for 100 Thieves on the backside. We'll see if they can get on him with Millennia, but the dive comes in already from Virtus Pro.
Finzi going in heavy with a slap in America towards the back line, but the bond goes out to match it right back. Sparker here on the high side, just biding time. Going to look to take that height now and look downward. Height means a lot. It gives you free access to those headshots and more difficult to get taken down. There's the movement, spin to win with a blaster barrage. Trying to get that ult charge already at 50%, but a ton of pocket as Vinny goes down there early. Delena gonna find one to trade it right back into Phi. Numbers even down, but a Vanguard down here for 100 Thieves, who now are gonna drop back and reset.
Yeah, this could be a hard map, I think, for that Daredevil as we see go on, as Finzi finds Millennia, also on Delena. So VP trying to close out this first fight, Shib, as they surround the objective, and even with losing the damage-dealing power of Daredevil, able to take the comeback against the 100 Thieves and win that point first. And you know, Shib, in these domination maps, that first fight can last an incredible amount of time. So once you get that first fight win, that definitely bodes well for the team that caps first.
Yeah, they're going to take this space here and force them into this alleyway choke, which is a danger spot to be locked in on. Again, nerves are high as we start up here. Terra trying to take that height to force eyes upwards. Going to elect to drop back to the team here once more. And they did take that space right back, but Sparker in the off angle with Finzi going to go towards the back line. Bond gets forced out, and that is a huge cooldown to find.
Yeah, I mean, front-to-back style's been hard against Sparker in the sky with the Galactic Legend, just forcing out the invisible boundary. Millennia also popping that Jeff ultimate, the Jeff on the backside. Dridro with his own, who connects, who gets some members in their mouths. It looks like on the side of Dridro, he's dodging, doesn't want to get connected by anybody that can CC him. Meanwhile, Millennia is able to find one off the map, goes 5, but he's able to come back with some movement, with some tech, able to hop back through. Delena going to be brought back in the fight as well, has that res available, and Terra in the sky with the Galactic Legend forces out that Freedom Charge.
Freedom Charge out again for Finzi, and Daredevil's letting the devil out. The Lawyer coming in hot, gonna find one there on Delena. Do I see 2? Very low as Saipe takes out Terra now. 2 numbers down, make it 3 as Harvey falls, and Vi just popping off here and walking them to the spawn door.
Yeah, they force out that cocoon from Delena, and this front-to-back style isn't really working out at the moment for 100 Thieves. They're getting pushed back to the spawn. TTK gets staggered, and that's a brutal one too. He might have to switch over to Dr. Strange to try to touch the point.
Yeah, it's getting dicey now with 100 Thieves. Definitely have to make a change as Vinny is going to be on that Strange, trying to find an off-angle play here to make this portal come through, and here it begins. The touch will come through. They do have time, but this is a crucial battle to win. The res ready here for Delena. TTK with a Psionic will begin this fight. Bond goes out early. There's that Psionic Seduction trying to get a few tramps, but nobody is walking in that direction just yet. Delena's Bond is gone. Res is available, but very low, as there is so much focus on top of Delena with some really strong movement now. Dropping backwards, keeping the team healthy. Ease available. There's the E coming out for the It's Jeff. Oh, and uses the Karmic Revival as a way to avoid a huge ultimate as TTK's now back in this fight. Good positioning here by Millennia, who still has that It's Jeff available. The retake here from 100 Thieves has looked very clean as Vinny is still holding on with this Strange, and they will get the point.
Yeah, huge flip from 100 Thieves. Terra switching over to the Daredevil as well. Maybe a bit of a surprise on a Saipe, and that's a good job from them to dive onto that Saipe backline. Terra making that switch over as well. Getting off of that Star-Lord is going to enable him, I think, to hard dive onto that backline, make Saipe's life a bit more miserable, but regardless, at the current moment, VP have the massive lead. They're trying to go for an aggressive play, 100 Thieves are at the moment.
Yeah, very much in VP's favor here. It's called an alt fight. Their team now is going to build together and try to commit, but no. Sparker early on drops the Galactic Legend. Iwagamoto finds one there as Vinny takes out Fi to hold on tight, but there's a lot of commitment here as Millennia goes down with the It's Jeff. Sparker on the high side, keeping pressure backwards towards that back line, but the team is going to drop backwards.
Yeah, I mean, Sparker, good job with that Galactic Legend, but also disengaged from 100 Thieves was very clean. They're also coming off onto Terra's ultimate. They want to build Delena in that Karmic Revival and set him up safely with that cocoon. However, VP tracked him down. They have a very mobile composition, so I would favor VP as they build up ultimates in this upcoming fight.
Yeah, they've done a great job of pulling out that Bond early on there from the side of Adam Warlock, and here comes the engagement now as Terra is going to be on the Lawyer. TTK finds Nevix. Finzi, though, onto Delena, who might have self-res to keep the numbers up on the side of 100 Thieves. Doesn't look like it. Yep, there's that res as Sparker now takes out Harvey, and again, another big trade once more, still maintaining pressure on the point. 60% is now where it's going to be stalled as VP takes point with ult advantage here from Nevix and Dridro.
Yeah, great peeling of Terra. He goes down to Sparker, and with that, 100 Thieves gave up the point. VP have control, no portal either because they used it earlier, and VP look like they're about to close up on round 1. They do so, and already up in the lead against 100 Thieves. What a map from them.
Yeah, VP doing exactly what they needed to do. Get the point early and hold it as late as possible. If you're able to get it to 99% like that, it is an insane percentage of success rate in terms of you taking that map. You know, it would have been a huge win there for 100 Thieves. The bounce back definitely gave them some confidence, but they could not pressure through, especially when Virtus.pro committed on ults.
Absolutely, and I think that's the problem with this current patch for 100 Thieves, and the difficulty, I think, for them coming into the meta is that these sort of dive-heavy mobility compositions are kind of taking hold in the meta, right? They're really strong, and it's hard to counter dive per se. In 100 Thieves, the tough part is their strength is a sort of front-to-back style, like you mentioned, rolling out in the Groot. We've just seen that sort of composition not really work out, except unless you're on Convoy or Convergence, and even then, these heavy dive compositions, as is tradition on Domination, just kind of pan out better because you can help your backline stay alive, pressure out 100 Thieves backline, and the peel job is not good enough from them. However, on Warrior Falls, this is going to be scary. Both Daredevil players should be online. Also, 100 Thieves have changed up their composition. They're going over to that Angela.
Yeah, this is one of those off-map potential locations. We'll see Millennia and Dreedro now with a huge itch. Jeff is gonna find 4 and head towards the off-map. Will this work out? Dreedro with an insane itch. Jeff is gonna take out 2. Do I see 4? Beautiful play there by Dreedro to sweep the front and back line.
Dreedro probably has been the best Jeff in the entire tournament. I think it's at least the most interesting and unique ultimates that has been throughout. However, Dreedro in that case, really aggressive play alongside his Angela. They root them all together, and then with that ultimate, can't really leave because of Angela, and then Jeff's there with his mouth wide open to take him at least off the map, or they go down during it. 100 Thieves now have to set up the LAN in this ult yet again, but VP are well aware that they're going to play around that res.
And you can see there TTK is on that Angela, and you are going to be using that ascend and descend button to be juking like crazy. That is the strength of Angela. Millennia now going to start up with the Itch Jeff, trying to find as much value as we just saw from Dreedro, and there is going to be the Itch Jeff. It does not seem, oh, it does find a few, potentially relocating now as Millennia does commit with that Sparker in the sky with the Galactic Legend heading towards the backline. Great movement there, but does find 1 onto Millennia with some help from Dreedro.
Yeah, I mean, they come out of the mouth and then immediately go down. This is tough. The sync is not there for 100 Thieves. They've used ultimates, res back in. Now VP have the advantage. Invisible boundary versus every ult for 100 Thieves. If they're even going to get any, what a tough fight for them. Though it's an aggressive one from Saife. They're going to clean up 100 Thieves here.
Vi is going to find Elena, and this point, they are going to walk them down. Make it 2. Do I see 3? I do, as the lawyer is going to absolutely walk down the rest of the team, 55% and climbing.
And guess what? Dreedro's close to another H Jeff. I mean, we've seen him have it before. Vinny also has that Doctor Strange ult, but Dreedro, I believe, was the player to also eat that Eye of Agamotto coming out from that Doctor Strange. We'll see if he can do it again, because his timing has been impeccable, and that's the only way for 100 Thieves to win here, is Terra going off in the backline or Vinny finding an Eye of Agamotto.
Yeah, already just a ton of beautiful coordination here from VP. 100 Thieves have looked pretty good, but just not up to the caliber of this team at this moment. Down goes the It's Jeff now from Dreedro. Everybody using those cooldowns to buy time. And that It's Jeff finds 2. Again, a successful ultimate. Going to turn around and get the allies out, but will he be able to hold on? Are you kidding me? What a downtown throw there as Dreedro finds 2. Terra, though, is going to turn that right back. And here comes the ult for 1, but again, onto Daredevil, does have that chain back. You will have to commit off map.
Yeah, I mean, Nevix is the one in his mouth. Nevix gets back too because Millennia flew out. So because he's Angela, has perma flying capabilities, he doesn't even get taken down. So Millennia doesn't even find value, and that's horrible. Vinny with the portal going to come back, but there's no ultimates for 100 Thieves. They have to rely on Harvey bidding up this invisible boundary because they're going to get smoked by Nevix and Sparker, who both have their ultimates.
Portal comes through now, folks. Potentially the final fight here of this first set match of the series. There's some damage from we see Nevix initially starting with the Heaven's Retribution. Some damage goes out. Harvey with some good positioning is going to pop out that invisible boundary to counter up with the Galactic Legend. Galactic Legend now is on the back line from Sparker, but it just now to deal a little bit of damage, as it will be for Not at the current moment. Some more damage and healing again towards the front line. They're still maintaining positioning as nobody's dangerous, but Vi trying to find one instead gets traded out from Terra.
Yeah, I mean, Sparker read that well, playing it slow, just knowing that he doesn't have to do much except force out ultimates out of 100 Thieves. They have nothing left. I mean, there's just going to be hero plays at the moment for 100 Thieves. They get a player on invisible boundary. VP does, and with that, Delena slowed down in the sky. I mean, they have to stall overtime, picks down Nevik, finds him as well, and with Delena gone, that's a huge ultimate remove. TTK in the backline needs to find something huge.
Yeah, already switching up team comms a little bit too late here. It's going to put your team in a bit of a it's just a tough spot, as we see right now. Nevik doing more damage once more to the front line. Out goes the Itch Jeff, trying to look to find a big eat, and it has some potential here. Dreedro is going to find no one with a huge set of movement cooldowns there from the Thing. Delena takes out Sparker. TTK on a Dreedro. Fi now finds Terra, but it gets traded as Delena takes out Saipe. TTK on the Nevix, and once more, 100 Thieves retake the point.
How did they come back in that one? Vinny switching to the Thing as well to help peel for that point in the fight. Fi going a little bit too aggressive. That was cleaned by 100 Thieves. If they could reverse sweep right here, that would be a huge momentum shift. Nevix going over to the Thor as well. They want to set up that dive that way. His Angela maybe not panning out as well as Fi's been having a little bit of a tough time diving on this back line.
Yeah. Clearly, that new switch in composition here from 100 Thieves has been working, as we see Star-Lord there, and adds more pressure onto things like Jeff, the baby land shark from Dreedro. Fi, it does have that ult available. Terra ready to match. Millennia, though, with that early pick onto Fi with ultimate, is a ton of value. The team needs to play together, try to get towards that 90% number. 54% in counting. Terra commits now, heading towards the backline, trying to get some staggers. Saipe goes down, and TTK cleans up Vinny, Delena, and Terra gonna find 3 more, and 100 Thieves are playing lights out on this retake.
This has been so clean from 100 Thieves. I mean, I don't think I even expected that. That comeback, that playing around the Thing. I think that specifically how Hunter Thieves play, their front-to-back style pans out well. When Vinny's on the thing, he's kind of keeping everybody together towards that point, anchoring it. VP have ultimates left to go, and now this is going to be last fight territory for both teams.
Yeah, and you'll consistently see Vinny turning around and looking towards that back line, ready to dash them to give them that damage reduction. Here's the Let the Devil Out from Fi, who is going to, almost get ulted there, but Saipei with some good movement finds Millennia. A numbers up once more for VP, who do want to end this right now. Still have teleport available if need be. Sparker going to commit here with the Galactic Legend, chasing on a TTK, who tries to get the tackle. Is going to be very low, but does seem to escape at the current moment. Harvey goes down too. Fall is now. Sparker is on an absolute rampage. Vinny on the point with about half HP goes down, and at this point, it is going to be a tough retake, if it's even possible. VP take map 1.
Yeah, Terra switches to Doctor Strange, but he's going to realize the portal cooldown is up, and VP take map number 1 in the best out of 3. That is massive. 100 Thieves get to pick the next map, but no matter what happens, VP, if they were to lose it, get that third map pick. And what a map to do it on. VP looks so good with this dive style, playing the Angela, switching to the Thor if need be, and you know, everybody, Sparker's popping off fine, looking a little bit shaky at points, but really in the group stage, he proved he is the best Daredevil, or if one of the top 3 for sure. This whole squad coming together and what everybody assumed to be the God squad. Everybody behind the scenes in the MEA backing this team as to be the best in the world, and it's for a very good reason. As you can see, the 4th seed out of North America, but fourth seed out of the group stages rather in Group B. Looking a little bit shaky there on that map, as it was a 2-0 on Burn of the Chala.
Yeah, just to build off of your point there from Fi throughout this whole stage too, and even coming in here to the LAN has looked really good. I think Sparker takes a lot of the focus in terms of just praise, but Fi is consistently showing up, like you said, with that Daredevil, who I think plays a huge role in these domination maps.
Yeah, he's been kind of consistent. He's been the backbone behind this squad with that anime mouse pad. Obviously, you can see on his screen. We love Fi for that reason. He is definitely kind of been coming into his own. Yeah, like you mentioned, the group stage popping off, and he's sort of that on a Human Torch. He's been playing a lot of those heroes in the MEA, doing really well.
Flexible.
But it does seem like him picking up Daredevil, maybe even Iron Fist in the future and stuff. That's kind of the way forward for this team.
Sure.
Not every team has that flexibility that VP has, and that's why they're sort of meta-proof a lot of the times. They just don't have any weaknesses in the squad that you can really point out.
Yeah, I think we see some of the most successful teams where they have a duelist that's very strong and a smaller pool, and then they have a very flexible duelist as well that can fit whatever is needed. We saw even some big changes there from Delena, which they started playing much better once that Star-Lord came out, which is strange because throughout this whole tournament, that Adam Warlock has been crucial for this team. So, but I do think that that's a good flexibility. But being able to come in here with Daredevil and look this strong, very well played.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but against Daredevil, like you mentioned, you can't really hide on Adam Warlock, right? Yeah. I assumed on the first map, just considering how long range it is, I'd be a little bit worried for them, but the pressure was just there on VP's side. They were constantly diving in with the Daredevil, and you could never set up if you're Delena, right? If any team is, kind of smart about things, you're not going to be able to get a res off because you're always going to get tracked in that passive when you're in the cocoon form. And with that, Delena was never able to set up a good Karmic Revival. Every time we saw 100 Thieves ult, they were behind in ults, right? Even in that last fight, you saw the Sparker will just wait out invisible boundaries, right? He'll just use Galactic Legend. As long as you force his strat at his ultimate, you are in the edge because you have your own invisible boundary afterwards. So VP playing that macro really well, and you can see the only real thing you can mark onto their case is maybe Fi's going a little bit too far sometimes, and if that's the only issue is your micro, I think this team is in a good spot moving forward in the tournament.
Absolutely. Yeah, and just utilizing, like you said, the ability to see invisible heroes or heroes through walls, it does do a good job in almost peeling or at least shutting down setups of dive, and having that ability to communicate to your team what they're planning helps you know what cooldowns you need to answer that plan, and that is what we've seen a ton from this team. Again, looking so good.
Yeah, and you can see going back over to map 1's results in that last map on Burn of the Chala, it was going to be a hard one, I think, for Millennia in the backline. Dridro also has been huge with that Jeff every single time. He had a big ultimate. He's probably the best Jeff in the game. I would say maybe matched even by Vision on the opposite side. There's a few Jeffs that are definitely standing out, so there's more to call out regardless.
Yeah, one of the things we kind of mentioned in the green room is I think Dridro has the best ultimates on Jeff, right? Maybe not the best micro play and decision making, but always huge ultimates. And if you're able to find big It's Jeffs, you can turn the entire tide of every fight.
Absolutely, you're right, Shiv. That's a great call out. And I think that as we continue this series, it's going to be a close one because, like we mentioned, if VP were to win on Yggdrasil Path, which is their very second map of the day, that could send 100 Thieves that loser bracket, and they definitely don't want that. VP knows that they smell blood in the water right now, specifically Dridro does, so we'll see if they can close out on 100 Thieves. Maybe in the ban phase, we could see some potential bans against the Jeff to stop that from happening.
Yeah, I have no doubt we're going to see a shift up here and potentially see that Jeff removed. Remember, folks, this is a map selected here by 100 Thieves, and then after that, if they do take this W, it goes back in Virtus Pro's selection. So ultimately, you do get a pretty big advantage from winning that domination mode because you can guarantee that final map that decides everything is in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be the deciding factor. But ladies and gentlemen, it could be the end of 100 Thieves in the upper bracket if they are not going to reverse sweep on Yggdrasil Path, which is a great map for them. That's why they picked it, obviously. We've seen 100 Thieves come back on this map many a times. Even if they were to get first held, this is one of their stronger maps. So we know VP is so good on maps like Midtown, like we saw. That's a hard map to pick against them. So 100 Thieves, knowing that this is their best chance. They also have the most experience on this map, but same thing for VP, right? Yeah. That's the tough part, is that for as long as Yggdrasil Path has been in the map pool, both VP and 100 Thieves are very strong at it.
And just like we mentioned, goodbye Jeff right there. The baby land shark is being removed and locked in for 100 Thieves, which I think is a smart decision. But removing that Emma and Mantis will help stop maybe some of those triple plays in terms of triple Vanguard strategist defense. So that is a good counter ban.
Again, VP is being smart with it, right? Already going for that Vanguard line that you mentioned, getting rid of that Emma Frost because of compositions, like you said, the triple. So at the moment, it seems like 100 Thieves are just on the back foot in terms of trying to decide their composition and for the map-specific bans, right? For Remix, he's definitely behind the scenes helping Terra go for that ban, protect phase, as Terra is the captain of 100 Thieves. Virtus Pro on their side is Nevix committing a lot of those bans. But at the moment, I would just favor VP with just getting the bans that they want right now.
Yeah, removal of Bucky again, I think has been a huge answer here for VP. They know how strong Terra is on that Bucky in the conversation for one of the best Buckies in the game, and really does mess with the comps that they like to run. So again, it's a very strong ban, I'd say.
Visible Woman coming out for VP as their protect, which is definitely unique.
Interesting,
We didn't see that much in the group stage, but it makes a lot of sense. I think Invisible Woman does a great job at shutting down, potential Wolverine picks from 100 Thieves, potentially most things as well. But regardless, 100 Thieves now going for that last ban. We'll see what they want to pick. It's going to be the Luna Snow, every strategist 4 on their side ban.
Yeah, VP's very much changing their protects from what we saw in those early group stages. It was Jeff, Emma, and Winter Soldier as their top protects, and clearly shaking things up. They've done their homework. It worked out for them in the last match. See if it happens again. 100 Thieves locking in that Venom. They've protected in the past Mantis, Winter Soldier, and Emma, and they typically ban out that Mantis Venom in the Psylocke like we discussed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm liking this so far from VP. For 100 Thieves side, it makes sense too. I mean, you like to see those bans kind of come out in terms of strategist. Star-Lord ban to limit Delena's hero pool once more, like you said earlier. But regardless, this is going to be a fun one. At the end of the day, I talked to Coach J-Mac for Chopper Mac, who in my opinion has some of the best draft phases that we've seen in the group stage. He said sometimes it's just a skill issue, right? 80% of the time it is such as that. And for 100 Thieves and VP, it's almost like you can just toss away the bans, right? We just want to see how well you can play in your certain compositions. And we know 100 Thieves, like you mentioned, like to play that 3-3 comp. For VP, they can be good at it too, and also get that Emma matchup without anything on the other side. Same thing with Bucky, and you've seen in the past how good Terra can be on Bucky, so that's smart just to get rid of that hero.
Yeah, and this will be Virtus Pro defending as 100 Thieves elect to attack first here on Yggdrasil Path, and this is going to be a fun one to watch. Again, some teams really excel with that triple Vanguard, triple strategist, but some teams have been struggling with it, and we find a lot of different answers to how to get out of that spawn door, because that is everything against that composition. You will see strange portals back towards the ramp. We'll highlight that as we get close to ensure you have 3 fights every time on point 1. And point 1 on this map is very defendable if you are successful with that 3-3 comp.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now, for 100 Thieves side, they're going to start off on the attacking front. And for Virtus Pro, they do go on that 3-3. They're going to play that Adam Warlock alongside that Loki, so we could see the coveted double res come out of that squad.
Yeah, and that would bite even more time as Harvey finds Nevix early, and that's a nice start here as TTK drops backwards. We see VP is going to just drop slightly towards that ramp, but Terra going to find Phi. Again, that's 2, make it 3. Why don't you 4 as the team is falling early, and what an attack here by 100 Thieves for running that Punisher to help handle those 3 Vanguards.
Yeah, I mean, they're running the Storm and the Punisher for maximum damage. TTK maybe going for a portal block or at least scouting in the meantime. We see VP maybe know that. They're not switching to Doctor Strange for now, understanding that TTK goes for the cancel. VP coming back through with the traditional dive composition. 100 Thieves on this full counter 3-3 comp. We'll see how they play around it. Can they counter dive VP? Can they take down 5 on his aggressive plays?
Delena is going to be there on that Storm. We've seen this in the group stages as well. It'll damage boost that Punisher to do more damage to the front line. And there is that help right there, boosting that damage just slightly. The whole team is grouping on point, playing around that natural cover. Out goes Bond for the side of VP. Harvey with some great positioning here is going to throw that orb towards the back line to make sure it cuts off LOS so they can't press forward and keep eyes on their Vanguards. And there is the invisible boundary matched right back to the side of Saipei. Terra going to find one on Finzi though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's just sitting here with a shotgun shib, and right now it's just going to be hard for VP to sustain, especially missing one member of their squad.
Wow, well done by Vinny, who's been mean on Groot. I am Groot, says Vinny, as here comes the Omega Hurricane towards the backline. Sparker in a dangerous spot here, trying to deal enough damage, but it is going to be the combination with Jeff. Jeff NATO is going to sweep through and find a 2-piece, but here comes a res.
They're born again by Sparker, like you mentioned, and now coming back into it. It's going to be in that last stand. Terra finds 2. Can he find more? Everybody's res, but it's into so much damage from Terra.
Got to keep it flowing here with the final judgment. Out goes the Eye of Agamotto to help supplement. There's another res as Dredro brings back Phi and Nevix. Delena on the pick on Finzi. Everybody still in the fight now. It's a double res, finding a ton of success, but Terra, just a demon here with a shotty. Finds 1, make it 2, is going to be pulled out there. The Eye comes through once more. From the side of Finzi, doesn't find too much value as Millennia takes out Phi. The team still dancing on the point, but again, another Venn diagram back and forth here.
Delena goes down. Sparker could build potentially another Karmic Revival, but Saipei falling. Sparker goes down. Is that Cocoon even going to be popped? It's Terra basically playing our new game mode, the Undead 5v5 PvE. At the moment, you have to toss out the Strangling Prison because they are a horde of zombies. Millennia goes into Swallow, but that might have messed up. They could have found eliminations. The stall kill still comes through from VP with a minute and 20 seconds left. Could Sparker build it? No. Finally, 100 Thieves clean up, but that was an immense amount of player presence towards that point as 100 Thieves push it into second phase.
Yeah, honestly, a really good play there by VP on the double res, almost coming back and building for it once more, which would have been insane to see. But again, there's some smooth play there from 100 Thieves who have clearly practiced on this map. This composition here is working for them. The Punisher Shoddy has been detrimental, and just a ton of finals there from Terra.
Yeah, he's been clean on the Punisher, coming close to that last stand as well against VP, who have switched things up. They're going Sparker over to that Psylocke for a dive with Nevix in that Beast of the Abyss.
For those who've maybe been living under a rock, TTK is on the sticks. As you see in the bottom right there, the controller scheme. Millennia gonna find 5 for 1. The Bond goes out there for the side of VP. The pressure is still for Terra. Has not even needed to switch over to the AR. Just keep the shotty out and just devastate that front line as the dance of the butterfly from Sparker gets destroyed from Terra with a nice right.
And I love seeing this. This is just beautiful Marvel Rivals going on a convoy. We get to see the difference between two teams. VP going for a more dive-heavy composition. 100 Thieves front to back. Freedom charge start off by VP, who have ultimate advantage. Already find Delena, forcing out that resurrect by him, maybe.
And the final judgment once more is going to see that invisible boundary. The team is going to elect to drop backwards together and try to retake. Delena is going to res back up, and there again is a heavy engagement. Spin to win here from Phi. Delena is going to find Harvey too with that Karmic Revival. The team is once again back together. Here comes that Galactic Legend, but it's going to be matched by the Itch Jeff to keep the team healthy in the backline. Great answer and a potential play here from the Jeff. Does it land? Not quite sure yet.
Yeah, he just waits it out. He knows VP's looking to counter dive it. They're just a little too obvious. Telegraph. Now they come back in though with Nevix's dive. Can they follow up? Maybe find eliminations here.
Millennia is going to find Nevix again. A good early pick there from Millennia, but Dredro is going to find that Karmic Revival. TTK finds Finzi, but once more back in the fight. Delena on to Phi, and there is that whole team. Strangling Prison on the res is going to be potentially a big play. Match right back by the Bond. The whole team is walked backwards, and everyone goes down as VP cleans up.
Well, you know who that was saved by as that Eye of Agamotto gets wasted from 100 Thieves? It was Saipei. Saipei with the invisible shield blocked the Groot ultimate, the Strangling Prison. A lot of times it's going to be hard for us to pay attention to that because of how quick these invisible movements are at blocking those ultimates. It was something Velocity's brought up behind the scenes. There are so many times when that Groot ultimate doesn't connect. It's because of these really good strategist gameplay maneuvers. And on the desk, they talked about Saipe being the best in the world, and you can see exactly why there. Now in this upcoming fight, a minute 20 seconds left to go. 100 Thieves do have strategist ultimates to match VP, but Sparker could be a real game changer with his Dance of the Butterflies.
Yeah, and again, I'm not sure how good that Eye of Agamotto was there. A little bit of a panic eye, in my opinion, as it just did not get much value after the whole team falls. Here comes that dance. Once more, the scariest dance here in Marvel Rivals. The Cutterfly is not able to find one, but pulls out cooldown. TTK matches it right back and finds a two-piece now as 100 Thieves are up in numbers, and there is no res potential here. At the current moment, as Dredro is about at 76 and counting, but does fall to Vinny with some great target prio. And they're still walking them forward as Terra now is on that Daredevil instead of the Punisher.
Yeah, this is scarier against the Dance of the Butterfly. Saipe trying to live with the Soul Bond and the Freedom Charge, able to do so as well as the healing Patty K in the sky. Buys potentially some more. Sparker, who's found two with 30 seconds left to go, sending him back to spawn. Millennium tries to eat something, but he's eating nothing at the current moment and is sent back to the spawn once again.
Yeah, and there is going to be a potential portal play here, but the team is going to try to stop it. Vinny with a potential huge stagger. That is not what you're looking for with 14 on the clock. You got to try to get that portal there. Typically, you're looking for about 10 seconds to ensure you can get it done, but it is going to be done. Moving away from the spawn door, and the touch comes through. 5 seconds on here for 100 Thieves, who need to clutch up right now.
Yeah, they do, and they come back in. Can he let the devil at the right time? Terra has been clutch in these situations before, but he's pushed back by Saipe.
VP holding firm on their defense. We will see the devil be let out shortly. Eye of Agamotto available there for the side of 100 Thieves, and there it is from Terra, who finds one, but everyone is back once more as Dredro finds another huge res, and that has been consistent throughout this whole series. Millennia again in the pick on 5, but once more, it doesn't matter when the team comes right back into the fight.
Yeah, Saipe with their Sparker with the Dance of the Butterflies finds Terra. Can he find more? Vinny goes down, and Sparker punches them out. 100 Thieves can't get any cart space any longer, and they get held at 99.7 meters.
Really clean ult there once more from Sparker, but I can't tell you how many times I've said that over this tournament, as he's looked very, very good on that hero. We see Delena potentially flexing to show a Psylocke at the moment on the screen. Not sure that will be the case, but looking forward to seeing this next hold here from VP.
It's always tough to say when we go to Convoy and Convergence Ship, right? Like a lot of times we'll see, teams push full cap a map and then the other team does the exact same thing. It's almost like on stage too, especially now that we're at LAN for $1 million in person, there could be those nerves, right? Yeah. That's something we talked about even as a storyline for TTK. He's been phenomenal throughout the entire tournament, throughout stage 1, stage 2, but at LAN, I think it was a bit tough to see his impact at the midseason. Now here, you mentioned it earlier, his Doctor Strange map number 1 was phenomenal, but they still lost on that map as well. It was a bit harder. I think that him and Vinny sort of slowing it down. We saw that he was trying to hard pocket play around Terra, but at the current moment, that's not the play style of this game. You could see VP were so smart, Ship. I mean, everything they did in terms of going in, the if then this statements, right? You saw that they would go in, dive, use an ultimate in terms of the Dance of the Butterflies for Sparker, and then they would see a Strategist ultimate, run away, and then they would sort of recycle once again.
Yeah, that's just very smooth, consistent play, like you're stating. The entirety of 100 Thieves with a ton of finals there, so everybody is very well coordinated. The problem is VP just a little bit stronger there on that defense, but it is a defensible position there on point 2 as we start here. Nevix going to heavily engage, forces all the cooldowns, is going to be low, but still seemingly escape at the moment. Fi in a dangerous spot. TTK with a good chase there is going to take that one down. Fi, there's some insane movement, is able to drop backwards in a dangerous spot here for TTK and Terra. We're still holding on to the point.
I mean, they get the healing, they have that Venom team up, so everybody kind of staying healthy alongside that Soul Bond, both kind of used in similar fashion. But right now, Vinny trying to touch it out. They're coming back for the peel. Can they find Binzy? And 5, they do. Nice job from Harvey and crew.
Harvey had 5 finals there on the attack here on Invis, looking very strong here on Invis, who can deal a ton of damage in the right hands. The backline looking very strong. A lot of early picks there from Millennia as well. VP now is being held at the door again, folks. When you're on this triple comp, the idea is that you never leave this point. Do not allow it to scooch forward so you can get your portal on that next ramp. And they're still holding on here as Nevix is just trying to make sure the cooldowns come through, pressing backwards towards the back line now. And the combination, some great coordination, but Delena finds one. Sparker still going to take out out Harvey. The res potentially coming through here as Sparker gets a two-piece.
I mean, Millennia coming back in with the HF too. Everybody's gonna get res once Delena decides to pop his resurrection. Dritro, same thing. He popped the cocoon, used that res earlier. Can Delena build it and bring Terra back? Terra's gonna have to come back on the Doctor Strange portal. Delena so close, 2% towards that point. Is he even gonna save it? They're gonna wait and re-engage, it looks like. Back it off for now.
Yeah, that's tough because now you're giving an opportunity for Dritro to build that ult right back. So it's just more value. If he was able to get that ult off slightly earlier, it would have been insane. But no, not able to do so. Sitting at about 97% during that pick. Good target prio again from VP. As an Eye of Agamotto was available here from Terra. And there it goes to try to counter back. The dodge comes through there from Fi. Really well played. And the Meteor M to buy them more time. TTK from downtown. Half-court shot there onto Saipe. Vinny onto Dritro. And what a retake, but Finzi is going to find Delena, who did use that res, make it 2 onto Harvey. Finzi playing lights out here on cap, but still goes down to Millennia.
As long as Sporker and him are alive, they're able to bring it back. Delena with the res. Is he caught in this dance of the butterflies? Connects onto one, slows them down for now, but everybody's grouped up and take down Sporker.
Really good grouping there again. Good communication from 100 Thieves who are trying to find an answer here. They stick together to ensure the dance is forced out damage across the board.
Yeah, and this is the best front-to-back style team versus the best dive team out of VP. Shiv, they switch over to Loki now for VP side to give him some more sustain.
Yeah, those crystals, we can talk about that domain all day long, you and I, how valuable that cooldown is. Much like Adam Warlock Bond can counteract ultimates. Nevix goes under there with a piece of the Abyss. The team is staying together. That reduction in healing, about 30%, a new addition here in the new season, but it is not enough as Nevix forces out all cooldowns, can barely escape there from the slow of the invisible boundary. Millennia with some good focus towards Finzi, trying to protect the backline, and that's what you're looking for with this triple strategist composition. Terra gonna find Sparker now, and there is only 56 seconds on the clock. 100 Thieves are playing so strong here on this triple strat composition.
You know what? And this is exactly why you can't count 100 Thieves out. You saw that they only made it to the streets phase, but now they've leveled up with 45 seconds left to go. They could potentially stop VP here and send it to a map 3.
You're looking now for things like burning cap shield, so this Eye of Agamotto can be more valuable. There is some answers as Fi is going to commit towards the back line here. Terra goes down. Out goes that Karmic Revival. Another ult from VP in terms of using that invisible boundary. Sparker onto Vinny, but that res once more is going to happen. And here comes the combination. Everybody stacking together once more, staying healthy as Sparker is having to drop towards the back line, looking for an escape route. Terra chasing the entirety of the team who have to all relocate.
Yeah, Terra's gonna have to mark Sparker in this fight, make sure he can't set that up. Finzi can stall it out with the Freedom Charge as well. 100 Thieves still have ults ready to go. Terra could be huge with an Eye of Agamotto.
And there goes that eye. It potentially finds some. Out goes the invisible boundary. The Venn diagram match again as both boundaries are used. Everybody slowed up there inside that ult. Harvey doing a great job dancing. Up goes TTK with that Meteor M, and down it lands. Not able to get too much value. Deals some damage towards the Venom, but Venom incredibly beefy and very difficult to find a ton of success with. Big Beast right here from Vinny with a nice sweep onto one. Is there going to be two? Vinny looking really good in this series right now as Delena finds a pick.
Portal have to come through from Fi to come back and touch him, which it's there. Nevix installed out with the Beast of the Abyss, like you mentioned, but Delena, he sees somebody in the high ground. It's Fi ready to go, but everybody's split now for VP side. They're having to use regen domain already.
And Delena is going to make that switch to the Psylocke like we discussed earlier. Terrifying street drove Vinny now on a Saipe. Numbers are falling in OT. That is 3-4, and it looks like 100 Thieves are holding, and they will take this map, make it a 1-1 series, folks.
My goodness, 100 Thieves against Virtus Pro is a matchup I think we you know, coming out of Group B, you're like, okay, this is the 4th seed versus the 1 seed. But Group B was known as the group of death for a reason. One of the strongest groups we've ever seen in the history of even esports, looking at it from the outside, looking in. Even Crazy Raccoon and OUG were competitive in that group. And they send it to map number 3. And this is why I talked about earlier, you can never doubt 100 Thieves. And their fans will shout it as loud as they possibly can. We're not just a hoodie org. We're an org looking to claim it all and claim that $1 million, sending it to map number 3. VP now has that map choice that you mentioned before.
Yeah, the entirety of the team there with a fair amount of finals. 15 there from Terra, 7 from Vinny, 8 from TTK, 10 from Delena, Millennia and Harvey with 7 and 6. I have never seen a spread like that across the board from a team. Everybody getting value. Really well played, as we are now going to toss it over to the desk for more in-depth analysis.
What a matchup to start us off our first series, and we're already heading to a 3rd map. And Dan, that looked so convincing for Virtus.pro to start off with, but Thieves really started to bring it back in that first game. They made a couple adjustments. I want you to start us off, and then we'll jump to Moxie with it. They started adjusting. What was the difference maker here?
The difference really is just how 100 Thieves were able to adapt to what VP threw at them, especially in that domination map where VP really liked to get aggressive. They went for the ult charge. They wanted to get that stacked as soon as possible, but the discipline coming in from 100 Thieves was just absolutely perfect, and they were able to stave off the offense a little bit, but unfortunately, Virtus.pro still were able to come out in the end.
And Moxie, they adjusted their draft a bit as well. What were the important steps there?
GF instant ban. The GF instant ban. Judro got one round of being able to play the GF and use the strange cancel tech coming on through with the It's GF Eats. But something else that they adjusted wasn't just the ban draft, it was also the side that they decided to start on too.
Secret Psylocke. It's been kept a very close kept secret for them, so we haven't seen it that much. But we were talking about how 100 Thieves are adjusting. Dan, VP are cooking in these drafts.
Yeah, no, Moxie was absolutely freaking out throughout that entire draft. She was just like, oh my goodness, VP are actually doing the draft properly. And that was a criticism from us back in stage 2, that VP were still trying to get a feel of what the draft was going to be. But in the end now, they have been just absolutely locked in, ready to draft. And again, this is the most important time for draft picks to be spot on.
Yeah, I mean, it was the fact that for Burn and T'Challa, right, they were able to come on through and lock out so many dive-style vanguards. They went for both the Venom and the Captain America. So even when 100 Thieves had the Star-Lord, yeah, they had the Star-Lord, yes, they had the Jeff, but they didn't actually have a dive vanguard until they swapped Finny over to the Angela to be able to enable that style of play. And that was when we saw 100 Thieves really start making a little bit more momentum on Burn in comparison to the composition they rolled out with first.
And there's something I want to request a little bit more information on, if possible. While we did have an incredible setup, this is the first fight in that Yggdrasil path. What was so key here that 100 Thieves on attack were able to find that opening?
The front-loaded damage. They came in with this game plan where they would run this Punisher and the Storm, and they would go for that really front-loaded aggressive play so that they could walk onto Virtus.pro before the Adam and the Loki were able to actually start cycling through the defensive cooldowns with the double res, God of Mischief and Karmic Revival, something that we actually got to see when we headed into the third fight of First, and 100 Thieves had to pull out every single stop and play pixel perfectly to keep up with all of the revives that Virtus.pro had at their disposal.
But speaking of revives, we actually saw a little bit of a mix-up here where Virtus.pro started on Doctor Strange, then Dan, they swapped off it instead of portaling back for that first fight.
Yeah, I think the reason why Virtus.pro really did that was they went for the portal, but they immediately canceled it. Tried to bait TTK into a counter portal, and Virtus.pro were just 2 steps ahead in that play. They knew that 100 Thieves really like to do a counter portal play, and just drawing that voice line and just denying that portal from 100 Thieves was a great play.
And Moxie, I want to ask about something here. Like, a lot of people who've been watching us for the entirety of the Ignite stage will know how important some of these in particular triple strategist bans are, but why is it so important for these particular bans why is it so important to see these particular bans on characters like Jeff and Mantis, for example?
Well, the Mantis is really, really strong because it means that you hit your ultimate cycles far faster than your opponent, right? And looking at a player like Sparker, can you imagine how quickly he'd be able to build up and generate his ultimate if he had a 12% damage boost behind him?
True. So what characters are really boosted by these? Why are they so much higher in priorities?
I mean, everything. Okay, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a fun thing over here, right? I'm going to give you guys a card over here. Oh, no, we're not, because we're not on camera.
Not yet, not yet, not yet. Soon, but not quite.
But yeah, Sparker has been one of these standout characters coming on through from Virtus.pro's end because it is just the best meta for him coming on through, right? The Psylocke is super strong, the Winter Soldier is super strong, so too is the Star-Lord, and at the moment with the ban draft, you don't really have the slots to be able to burn on just duelists because something better in terms of a strategist or a vanguard is going to be able to make it through too.
So talk us through what you were going to say before we disappeared off camera here for a second, because you prepared some cards, I see.
Yes, okay, so at its core, this is like a very, very simple breakdown. This is like your bare bones, 1 + 1 = 2 of a ban draft, right? So we're gonna break it down nice and easy. Think about it like a stock exchange, right? So let's say that I decide to save Jeff. This is then going to mean, if I give you this card over here, do you see that the stock icon has gone up for both the Venom and the Star-Lord and the Psy and the Rocket? So in response to that Jeff save, all of a sudden you put pressure on the other team into having to ban out one of those, and that's what we get to see in terms of the draft.
And we'll dive back into that a little bit further when we come back after the third game. But for now, we have a draft coming up, which I believe we are going to be jumping into a little bit more here. So we get to talk about it this time. And immediately, we do see that Mantis taken away.
Yep. Mantis getting taken away, a pick that has been so strong, and it's going to be one-sided for Virtus Pro. You can see that stock for Mantis going through the roof right now, as Virtus Pro will keep that hero for themselves.
I mean, yeah, everything is not going to be so much stronger, and I mean, for 100 Thieves, something is going to be able to get through that the Mantis with the damage boost is going to be able to take from just doing a little bit of damage to full pick potential, as we are now going to have to see things like the Venom get fully targeted out so you don't have a damage boosted Feast of the Abyss.
Venom off the board. Jeff one-sided secure versus Mantis one-sided secure. We've actually had Mantis slip through the ban phase in that first game, but it was banned out later here. Why is it being prioritized higher this time?
That's a good question, because 100 Thieves really have been reading the meta, right? They've been seeing what other teams have been doing. There's been some other teams really have been letting the Mantis slip through later in the draft. And that's an adjustment that 100 Thieves ended up doing, and they added more emphasis on other picks, other bans. But if that Mantis was still available, they'll get taken away. And 100 Thieves now lock in that cap as the save, but Virtus Pro doing the same as usual, will take out that Bucky who has been so strong.
Yeah, they're targeting Delena's hero pool. Delena has been able to play both the Bucky, but also the Mantis as well. So if you want to, you can try and force them onto the invis, or you can actually remove that from the cycle entirely to try and really force him onto a specific and therefore predictable and punishable hero.
Luna going to be protected with that Invisible Woman taken out. You want to make sure you have one of those big anchor backliners to keep your team topped up. And of course, this also enables a little bit of dive potential. If you do want someone to play a little bit more aggressive, then giving them that idle aura is going to help out a lot. As we move on to the last ban of 100 Thieves, it's the Hela.
I was going to say, if they're really trying to force Delena onto a specific hero, it's likely going to be the Hela that he has to pivot onto. So what 100 Thieves do here is actually remove the Hela so that Virtus Pro can't play the Hela Namor composition, but they also can't try and match if 100 Thieves go for it. And remember, VP have the Mantis, so it's not a fair 1 versus 1 Hela fight off. It would be a damage boosted Hela who's also not going to have access to a Guardian Shield to be able to stop her.
And that's a huge ability, isn't it? That Guardian Shield protects a lot of the squishier backliners.
Yeah, and 100 Thieves read that play very well, getting rid of a playstyle that Virtus Pro are able to operate. They could go for the dive, but they had the option to go for a more front-to-back playstyle, but with that Hela gone, it causes a bit of problems in terms of how VP can adjust to what 100 Thieves really throw at them.
So now we have the potential for a one-sided Hela Namor, or potentially going into a more standard like Star-Lord front-to-back style. Winter Soldier was taken away as well. There's a lot of options, and to talk you through these and take you into the game, we're heading back to Shib and Dogman.
And we're heading into map 3 here, folks. This is going to be a selection from Virtus Pro, and this is a map that has been very strong for VP. There's a ton of off-angle plays and some unique strategies they bring to the table.
Yeah, they're really good at just playing these dive sort of comps. We head right into it, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, as we head into the map off the rip. VP running that Mantis alongside a, Luna Snow backline for a more, I would say, just like lower healing backline alongside the Mantis, but this is that all-in commit that they need against the 100 Thieves who are playing a front-to-back style with Delena and Terra taking off angles.
Yeah, but this is going to put a tough spot, or gonna put Saipe, excuse me, in a tough spot here on that Luna. Once you burn that freeze cooldown, very diveable. Saipe is gonna force out clap early on, or the forced clap from the side of 100 Thieves, who are now dropping back together, and that is exactly what you're looking for. When you're in a dangerous spot, regroup and retake, as we see Terra going very low here, and is going to be playing the Namor, which is something we don't see as frequently.
Yeah, I mean, Delena kind of is that guy on the Hella, right? And you can see on the flank, on the off angle, trying to take Sparker down. But in the meantime, Terra squids the Monstros, take down 5. Whale also comes through on a side bay. The backline's vulnerable. Terra gets the elimination. And yet again, Terra pops off on this hero. These two are phenomenal at these specific roles, specifically Delena on the Hella. And like you mentioned, Terra playing the Namor is a very unique swap that they've decided to do.
Yeah, we saw a lot of early picks there from Terra with those squids. And folks, for those who don't remember, the undead squids, any assist in an elimination here will force an undead squid that is untargetable, that deals extra damage. So once you start going, very similar to Daredevil, it's steamrolling. You start the train and it's hard to stop it as those squids just keep building and eliminating more and more and generating more squids.
And this is the unstoppable force versus the unmovable object in Virtus Pro versus 100 Thieves. Can they play slow? Can they counter the dive of VP, who wants to play aggressive?
And we start now. Sparker owning the height here, right alongside of Nevix. And there's a commitment with the dance, but it's mapped right back with the dance floor from the side of Harvey, who lost the invis in this fight. Sparker not getting too much value, but it does force out a cooldown, so it's an even trade there. Dreedro, it looks like a spawn flip at the moment, coming in with a soul resurgence early on. Out goes some damage. Up we go with TTK with the meaty rem. Does this one land on a Dreedro? Bang, but the shield comes through. Delena, though, gonna find a pick on a Sparker in the off angle, up in a beautiful position here. Ready with this goddess of death, and Dreedro falls. As Delena is not missing at this moment on height.
Delena going back to when he was known as Ant. I mean, phenomenal shots from him. He's putting the team on the back at the current moment as they want more. Can Fincy find the recoup? He does!
Oh, what a huge meteor ram match right back there with the horn from Terra. Delena finds 2, but Sparker gonna find Delena. The trades are too much as VP are gonna own this space. The portal needs to come through from TTK.
Yeah, he just spawns walking out of the doors right now. He may not come in time, so Vinny's gonna have to touch, but he doesn't have the help to work with. Can this portal come through the doorway? In onto the point, can Delena dash it through, and he does!
What a perfect dash there from Delena, but immediately falls as the commitment of the Kraken impact comes through from 5. That's 1, do I see 2? Forces them back in the door, and that is gonna be a reset once more on Harvey.
And that sets the point up for VP, so they take it. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. It was dicey, but it got figured out. 5 over to the Bucky, and you talked about how this guy's needed to level up. It has been throughout, right? TTK gets staggered, and at the moment, VP onto a composition around this Bucky with 3 minutes in the second phase of the map. 100 Thieves sticking with their composition of Hella Namor.
It's worth noting there, notice how TTK is falling directly on the point, folks. Take that into ladders where if you're going to go down, if you're going to stagger, make sure the cart isn't moving before you do. So make sure you can reset together as they start up once more with TTK on that Emma.
I love this out of VP right now. We'll see if they can continue it. I mean, we're getting to the second phase with so little time on the bank. At the moment, Delena's dived on, immediately forced out, goes low.
That is a huge ult, and it does find 2, 3, and Sparker sweeps right through here with the dance of the butterfly, and they are just gonna push this thing on the streets phase very quickly.
Yeah, you can see he's warmed up, right? Everybody coming into the crowd, into the audience for the first time in a while for Sparker, and all the other players of Virtus Pro who are hero shooter veterans for 100 Thieves side, switching over from the console region, now on to mouse and keyboards across the board. Can they close it, besides for TTK on the controller?
Nevix just dancing on height right now, looking for the pull away there on a Vinny, who's in a dangerous spot towards the back line, burning that shield very quickly at the cap. 3 meters left on the push. It's getting very close to the second point as they're now repositioning, and the commitment comes through from 100 Thieves. Millennia ready with the It's Jeff. You see Dreedro Soul Resurgence ready, as well as the dance floor from Saipe. There's a lot of answers here to some of these duelist ultimates that'll be coming out shortly.
Yeah, they're playing it slow right now. Here comes the sonic seduction from TTK to slow him down for now. Everybody disengage. It, not having to use an ult is huge for VP, who can come in with the advantage now.
And there goes another dance with this one to find value from VP. Fi gonna find Vinny again, coming right through and sweeping, and it's so difficult to play cap here into a Bucky that is marking you. Fi playing lights out, and this could be the point as they are walking them away. Still on point right now is TTK, but the dance of the butterfly is still going to come through from Sparker on a Vinny. Finzy is gonna find Millennia, and they are gonna get point 2 here in a moment.
Yeah, VP have turned it around in the second phase of the map, and they're looking incredibly strong for 100 Thieves. They might have to change some things up. They go over to Phoenix, they go over to the Adam Warlock, but after the changes to Phoenix in the recent patch, Shib, I mean, she doesn't regenerate ammo when flying, on top of some other changes that have resulted in her kind of slowly falling out, and you can see maybe they would want that Bucky that VP focused on in that ban phase.
Yeah, full compositional switch here usually means success, or your team is playing on their heels and just trying to find an answer. We'll see what that answer is. And if it is this composition in a moment, Delena going to be back on that Warlock starting up here. Heavens is coming in heavy as Angela's thinking about committing, forces outbound cooldown. The whole team gonna press forward here with Vinny with that freedom charge. Everybody walking them down, and a great reposition there from VP to retake once more in a moment. Not a lot of value out of these ults at this current state. Nevix going to commit once more on the front line of TTK, and Finzi gonna clean up TTK there. So a number down again for 100 Thieves.
And they're trying to stall it out. You can see, we see other teams like Rejected, Marvel kind of do this, force that payload incredibly well, but Delena forced away, doesn't even have that res, and VP gonna slowly but surely force back 100 Thieves, force out Delena's cocoon, not gonna have to use it there. But right now, I mean, VP just looks so good. They're steamrolling towards the very end, and if they found some stagger picks onto Harvey, oh no.
Oh, way to get out of there. Is gonna have that team up with Delena to stay healthy in those 1v1 duels. So well played there from Harvey to be patient with that cooldown and use it only when necessary. Oh, the full potential comes through from 5. Bubble goes through 2. That's 2 cooldowns used, and that can help Vinny play more aggro, knowing that pull is not available. Dance floor is out. The team's got to stay on it, though, as Delena was not able to do so. Sparker, just a little bit of a communication error there. Delena is going to res back, holding that cooldown for this fight.
Yeah, they know to focus him now, Shib. I mean, he's going to be low back there. No, Vinny goes down to a freeze from side bay.
A huge freeze followed up from Fi, and there is going to be that Karmic Revival, forced to use just a little bit early. The team's got to commit heavy now if they want to utilize that to its max potential. Team is going to force Bond as well, and there goes Fi. Is going to not find any reset at the moment as TTK hits the sky with a meteor ram. Bang, it comes down and almost cleans it up, but is not able to do so as Terra is also launching that Galactic Legend. A lot of commitment here into this dance floor.
And they're going to come in with their own Meteor M from Finzi, who's been big in the previous points. Can he close it out with 30 seconds left against Millennia, who maybe could connect with this? It's Jeff, but it's going to rely heavily on him.
Finzi from downtown, not able to make that work either. Nevix doing a great job, just adding so much pressure onto the backline. A huge eat here from Millennia, but it is all for naught as Millennia goes down. As Fi gets that pick, the numbers are dwindling here, folks, as VP is playing lights out. There's another big opportunity, just farming Qs here. Sparker just insane on this hero, dropping back once more to the team, and that is why you see that ban come through on the Psylocke. Everybody wants more retaking. Cooldowns being launched. Out goes Silver Surgeant here from Dreedro, keeping the pressure, but a great set of movement here from 100 Thieves to drop back as a unit.
Yeah, this neutral needs to work out for 100 Thieves now. At least get some eliminations out of this dance floor. They dive deep onto Fi, who's cracking impact. Vinny gets left.
Oh, wow. Dance floor comes through. Vinny is going to dash back into it in the last possible moment. Fi just holding on to that Kraken impact, being patient, looking for something big here. After cooldowns get used, you see that bubble go through, and that enables you to play a little more aggro with the impact, which we might see in a moment. What a huge pull there. And there's the follow-up. He misses it. But Finzi's still going to take out Vinny, so it still gets value with a huge pull in that moment. Saipei with some good positioning. Terra finding this once more, the Galactic Legend. And Nevix is going to hold on here as the dance floor comes through on point. Got to maintain pressure on point. This could be a huge eat here. Will this land? Waiting for the Meteor M to go through, and there is the eat. Does this one find what it does on a Nevix? Delena is going to find 2. Saipei on a TTK. The trades are back and forth. Oh my goodness, Finzi, Sparker, and that should be all 3 points. No,
Vinny's here. Vinny's here. He's stalling it out. He has heals from Millennia. Can Sparker find him in the ground? We've heard before. It's really hard to get rid of Jeff as he's under the water. Millennia stalling it out alongside his Captain America back in the main side of the point. He can't find him. Saipei can't get him. Millennia's just living.
And here comes the portal now from Nevix, just trying to get back there as a unit. They gotta get Finzi off point here from TTK, who cannot at the moment. Vinny taking the height, and now the whole team on a retake. No ults available here for 100 Thieves yet. Harvey very close, and Vinny goes down with the dance floor comes through here. It'll be the first ult as it does. Team is gonna stack as a unit now, trying to build ultimate to make a big play. Will this play come through? One goes down from Nevix to Lena, showing up here on the Psylocke today. Fi with some good positioning, almost gets one. TTK is gonna stilt them before point 3. Wow, what a battle.
Are you kidding me? First match of the day. This has been a banger, ladies and gentlemen. You are treated to some fantastic Marvel Rivals esports. If you're walking around DreamHack, come on and stop on by, because this is going to be an incredibly close map. We're on the third one. The crowd reactions coming through. CBWC out there. What's up, gang? Hopefully you guys are having a good time, because you are treated to some fantastic matches today, Shib. And Delena saved it towards the very end. Not only did he find that pick, but he also stopped that cart before capping out at 0.62 meters.
Yeah, I'm really liking the change here from the side of 100 Thieves. It clearly shows that they've been working on some different picks, opening up that hero pool a little bit, making it a hero ocean like we like to see. Psylocke, you need to have it as an answer if you're not going to ban it. And they kind of hid that from me in the interview. I think that is just got to hide in the strats a little bit, wondering who might be playing that hero. And it looks like Delena is going to be that selection.
And this is the funniest stats that we'll probably see when we come back from these players' shots, is that 100 Thieves won at the very end, but basically everybody went at least even or negative besides Terra, which is just crazy stats-wise. And you can see that's how you play the front-to-back style, right? You rely on heavily playing together as a unit, trying to peel off Sparker, who connects with those Dance of the Butterflies, who was popping the heck off, right? And it was a tough task on Delena to match that, but regardless, VP looking good, couldn't close out, but you know, and I know, Shib, and I'm sure a lot of our audience who plays a lot of Marvel Rivals know, it ain't over until it's over, and VP now starting the defense.
Yeah, bringing us back a few seasons here with the early portal play on the high side, right around that health pack. Then you're going to make the switch now likely to that Venom, or Cap, excuse me, as Venom was banned out. My apologies. Saipe is going to lose a clone there, dropping backwards once more. The whole team going to go down towards that bridge side, like I mentioned.
Absolutely surrounding him at the current moment. You can see where VP are playing on their angle, right? You see that Soul Bond's going to be a big one. Once you mention it, once you see it, Chip, it's going to be huge alongside that regen domain. They already get dove upon, but Fi pops that Soul Bond.
Yeah, Soul Bond cooldown out, though, is a win. Sparker looking at Delena on the high side angle, and it is going to work out as Nevix cleans that one up. Vinny now considering the dive, but again, down a number makes it a little more tricky. Really good movement by that triple strategist backline there to stay healthy. As Sparker now going to try to collapse. Nevix is walking them backwards. It's looking dicey, but down goes the It's Jeff, the baby land shark looking for one. TTK going to find Nevix now and put them back in terms of favor of numbers. Off map, Lydia with some parkour is going to take out Fi.
Yeah, it's a good trade though. Terra goes down, Taipei goes aggressive with Finzi, and they're able to sort of anchor towards the objective. Millennia hitting the trick shot off the wall on the Jeff. It's Jeff in that fight, but now they pop the Sonic Seduction. They still want to win this. Taipei with the copy, comes back to heal, come back with that Soul Resurgence, and everybody gets the portal on the side of VP as well to block off the doorway. Benny goes down.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was a little bit of an overcommitment on that copy. Not sure it was necessary at that moment. So that may be a small win there for 100 Thieves, who should come back with ult advantage.
And this is the hard part for 100 Thieves, is that Delena on Psylocke is good, but you saw on offense for Sparker, he only had 2 eliminations, right? 2 KOs onto himself. That's because he was playing safe, playing his life. And that's a very hard thing for a lot of Psylocke players to understand, is that you don't always want a full commit. You always need an out, and Delena going down in that fight was massive for the side of VP.
Yeah, and that's because that ult has been increased. The neutral still difficult to get a ton of value, although you definitely can with Psylocke, but with that ult, it can be very scary. So you just farm off the front line and all the back line.
Absolutely. Here they come in with the Dance of Butterflies.
Yeah, once more Terra up here now is looking for Sparker. Millennia going to clean up Sparker now, and 100 Thieves are up a number, currently committing everything they have as Nevix goes down. Another fall from Delena. Millennia, but the res comes through with a beautiful res here from Fi. Can they clean it up as they already take this point?
Yeah, they still get that resurrection available as long as Fi's in that cocoon form. Now comes back into this fight. Can they outstand? It doesn't matter because 100 Thieves cap that point. We head into the second phase, the second segment of the map, and Delena finds Fi too. And they're going to keep this up as well towards that objective, towards Fast's payload. And they actually have more time, I believe, than VP had on their attack, so a clean maneuver by 100 Thieves. VP eventually collapsing towards the very end.
Shout out here to Harvey, who maybe gets slept on here, just strategists in general from the casters, as we're seeing a ton of value in these neutral picks, and even forcing out an invis ban from Harvey, who had, I believe, 7 on map 1. So really well played by the backline, stepping up against a team that is terrifying in Sparker.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a hard time no matter who you play. You get that Luna Snow mismatch at the very least. You get that on the Snowflake onto Delena. In comes DTK with that silent seduction to start off the fight. Maybe try to force out something. They just find Nevix for free.
Yeah, that is worth it. At the current state, again, this is a similar story we saw when VP was attacking in part 3 is where they locked in. Dreedro now trying to break that so the team doesn't have to worry about the off angle as TTK finds Finzy, but from downtown, Dreedro gonna take out Vinny.
Yeah, huge snipes from him. I mean, they bring it back into it. You can see at the highest level of Marvel Rival esports, even when you lose one member of your squad, you can always turn it back. That's what 100 Thieves have done on the first point. VP here now with Dreedro's pick.
And there is that dance. Delena going invisible. Again, when you're invisible, Sparker going to take out Millennia and Harvey with a 2-piece. Almost 3 here. Yes, it is. Sparker, are you kidding me? Walking them back to the spawn door again.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that Sparker's the best in the world at Psylocke, and for very good reason, right? He has been consistent. The dance floor wasn't even resulted on anything in terms of ultimate pops by 100 Thieves. I think the only other guy who could say contest for that is the guy that's out of the tournament in Speedery. Maybe Finale over on Team Reject too. There's a lot of good Psylocks, but Sparker tends to remain at the top. A huge ultimate fight coming up now, Shiv. We'll see if 100 Thieves can force anything here.
A whole lot of Qs will be committed from both sides. Out goes the Galactic Legend early, finding Millennia, Finzy, and there's a 2-piece from Phi after the fact as Nevix gets 3. Everybody is popping off there and did not have to commit that much, so that's a huge win from VP.
VP so smart. It just seems like they're always making the right play, and 100 Thieves are trying to bait out ultimates. They're not even popping anything on the counter. These open spaces are a bit too far for them to make heavy decisions, and VP are taking advantage of it. Now you have ultimate advantage, but you have to actually use that advantage for your 100 Thieves because VP are kind of setting you back.
Terra now with the Galactic Legend taking out Phi early on in this fight. Nevix in a dangerous spot, dropping backwards. Crystals up there on the side of Saipei. That's a big cooldown burn, but it does shut down Terra from making big plays. The dance floor was committed there from Harvey. That fate of both worlds. Nevix now coming back in once more. And here goes the freedom charge from Finzy, walking them right onto Delena, who is holding on to that dance with the cutter fly now, looking to head towards the back line in a moment. And we will see if that works out as Bond gets committed.
There's going to be so many things in terms of the ultimate from Dreedro, Saipei. Also, Saipei can connect with the regen domain after this. Sparker comes in. They met by the Itch Jeff, who keeps everybody barely healthy.
Wow, and that was a huge defensive ult there, and a huge eat from Millennia trying to get off map, but instead, just going to buy time, take 2 very far away, and hope it's enough as Finzy goes down from Harvey. The follow through from TTK, the damage out in the Soul Resurgence now as an answer as TTK gets turned around on.
They block off the healing. TTK goes down to 5. Sparker finds Delena with 44 seconds left to go. 100 Thieves are staved off once again. Finzy switches that Doctor Strange. Probably doesn't even use that portal for now, though, as 100 Thieves could get closed out here, ladies and gentlemen, with 30 seconds left to go. VP want to punch their ticket further in this upper bracket.
Potentially a kidnap play there from Finzy. Doesn't look like it works out, but not a bad idea. If you're going to commit that portal, might as well try to find an off map there. Sparker playing so well. Everybody on VP on this defense is absolutely lights out using these cooldowns, but now there's no answers to ultimates on either side. Terra likely going to be the first one here with that Galactic Legend. If those crystals get burned, there is a dangerous position to be in, but the crystals are out now. TTK out of Finzy is going to find one. Nevix dropping backwards, and the whole team is going to reset under the spawn, and they are playing safe, and the retouch comes in now.
I mean, Nevix has been so good at anchoring the point. If he goes down, it could be over, but no, the healing is there. He's still somehow alive, barely gets tracked down by Terra, but in a second, we'll see Finzy back in the fight.
Oh my goodness, as they do, just one by one, drop VP, who are still barely holding on, as point 2 is taken by 100 Thieves.
Incredible work out of VP's Vanguards and Shredder's line. I mean, the stalling after Finzy going down was beautiful. Nevix constantly there with the overhealth on that Venom. At the current moment, VP now set back on 3rd point. This is getting close. This is when a lot of times your brain as a pro player is starting to overheat. I mean, this has already been an intense matchup, but I can't imagine what these players are feeling right now with $1 million on the line and their chance to go to that upper bracket semifinals.
The best answer here is for Harvey to have a huge fadeable world to counter a few ultimates. Both committing here as Delena finds Phi. Sparker, though, going to find Harvey, who does not bring out that dance floor. Nevix with a 2-piece there, who is looking disgusting on the Venom. Saipei on the Vinny, and Dreedro and Delena. That's a full life with 50 seconds on, and not a lot of commitment from VP, who are looking like absolute pros at this current moment.
This has happened over and over again. 100 Thieves trying to play for a one-fight territory, right? Make this the last fight coming up. If you could force something else out of here, maybe get a team fight wipe. Ult's built fast in Marvel Rivals, but you have a chance to make them nervous, to go in aggressively and force out more out of VP.
Eye up now, out goes that eye. Not sure it landed on too much. Good commitment from the side of VP, who do answer back. Nevix goes on with a Feast of the Abyss, stays healthy once more. Terra trying to build that out at 81%. The hold here from Saipei, ready with a copy, as everybody just playing slowly. They do not want to make or overcommit at this moment as the spin to win comes through with a blaster barrage from 5.
Yeah, 10 seconds left to go. Everybody's stalling out at the current moment. Galactic Legend will be there after Millennia gets an eat, and here comes the Freedom Charge from Vinny. Everybody's popping their ults on 100 Thieves side.
Sparker walking right back, though, trying to find where Millennia is, who does barely escape there again with some very strong movement. Now another Galactic Legend looking for Harvey. Millennia is going to fall here with some good play. Two-piece as Delena goes down from Saipei. Overtime ticking down. VP, the pros, playing absolutely lights out, and it looks like they will take this series.
What a series to start us off here at DreamHack. Everybody give a round of applause to our pros who just had an incredible best out of 3. VP take it, and the handshakes are surely going to come. EQO looking like a proud coach in the back saying good job, Defy. And for the 100 Thieves side, I think we're definitely going to see more out of them. I mean, that was an incredible performance out of 100 Thieves to go toe-to-toe with VP, who pretty much, I'm not going to say dominated their group, but did incredibly well and looked like the best team in the world right at the current moment.
Yeah, they have looked so dominant in this early group stages, folks. And just to reiterate here, this is now our elimination stage. You play a best of 3 on the high side bracket, but you get knocked down to the losers bracket, where now it turns into a best of 5 to hold on. I will say, 100 Thieves looked better than they have in this entire tournament in this game.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was just only game number 1. I mean, we have so many games today that are going to be best out of 3 and then ending off with the best out of 5 today. Everybody shaking hands, obviously. A lot of good sportsmanship. A lot of these guys, by the way, if you are wondering, have been playing against each other for a long time, even across the pond, scrimmage against each other online and practice regions. And, you know, they've been around, but they've never met each other at a LAN event like this in DreamHack Atlanta. And for $1 million, VP showed up, right? That's the number one thing we were wondering, is where would VP be at the main stage? And it looks like they are incredibly warm, and same thing with 100 Thieves.
Yeah, they just looked so dominant. That Psylocke was wild from Sparker, which is something we've said 1,000 times, but you cannot stop Sparker once he starts rolling. So many finals, just so dominant, and finding picks into strategists who still had ults.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about Sparker, is he's incredibly flexible too, not just the Psylocke, but he can play pretty much everything right now at the current moment. We saw how good he was at Namor back in the day, right? Back when it was, you know, Season 1 MRC and back in the real days of the War of the Realms tournament. So at the current moment, he looked like the best player in the world. I think Skittles as well for Team Chopper Mag has talked about Sparker and how good he is. Alongside, he said the best Psylocke he played against was somebody like Speedery on Envy. He said he just thought he played against the best, and now he's out of the tournament. It looks like Sparker has claimed that throne, at least for now. Yeah,
as you progress through this tournament, those sayings of, you know, I'm the best start getting answered, right? Those questions start getting answered because you've progressed farther. Yeah, I mean, VP, they've consistently looked strong, only losing a few maps throughout that group stages. Obviously now it's going to, the competition is only going to get stronger. We'll see if they can keep that up.
Yeah, we'll see if they can keep it up. I mean, that's the big thing, is moving forward in this upper bracket. I mean, that buys you not only time for later on when you play those upper bracket matchups, but regardless, let's head to the stage for an interview alongside Virtus Pro in just a sec.
Ladies and gentlemen, Atlanta, Georgia, viewers at home, that felt like a grand finals for the start of this grand finals. I'm joined by Sparker here, the lethal duelist, by many known as the best in the world. Duel, listen, Sparker, you know, obviously while you're there at mid-season, that was the heartbreak. The story of this VP team is cinematic at this point. How does it feel coming in, getting the 1 seed, and getting this first win?
I mean, obviously we've been waiting to be able to play on stage for, I mean, the entire year basically, ever since we failed to qualify for China. This has been like what we've been playing for, so it's good to finally be here.
Yeah, as a fan, as viewers, people have wanted to see y'all on the biggest stage. Is there felt like any difference being here in the bright lights with the crowd and everything with it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of, I mean, you're way more nervous here. You feel the shakes of the stage, like all the surround sound in the background, all the cheering. It's like a whole different experience from playing online.
Absolutely. Tell me, you guys take map 1 and then obviously faced with a little bit of adversity, even going into the 3-point hold that was looking like it was y'all's. How do you guys reboot, refocus, and ensure the win to move on to the semi?
I mean, we lose a map, we know it's best of 3, so there's no point in thinking about it anymore. There's a map after this one, and we just have to win the next one.
Hey, listen, Sparker, you personally have a lot of fans, a lot of Psylocke mains, a lot of players, duelists watching you. Anything you want to say to them? Who is VP? Who are you, my friend?
I will try my best to prove myself on the stage as well and try and get the win.
Hey, absolutely. Here, we'll enjoy the semifinal and get ready to lock in. You know, job's not finished, obviously, and I appreciate you coming on here. I'm sure we'll get you more for interviews in the future, y'all. Give it up for Sparker here in Atlanta.